when I was homeless, I felt depressed, helpless. I felt that there was no turning around for me. Didn't have any hope. During the periods of time that I tried to commit suicide, I didn't have anybody to talk to about anything that I was feeling. I didn't have anybody to like say, hey, you know, I'm really not feeling good. I'm really not feeling like myself. I'm really not feeling like, you know, I deserve to be here in this world.
It's hard to imagine what it would be like to be homeless, to not have a place to sleep where you feel safe, to not have shelter from rain, or know where or when you'll get your next meal, to not have a table to sit at to eat that meal. Of the 8,500 homeless individuals in San Diego, 25% suffer from mental illness. Individuals with mental illness are much more likely to become homeless than the general population, because their mental illness, left untreated, can disrupt their ability to maintain relationships, hold jobs, receive health care, respond to offers of help, or even keep a stable, safe place to live. For homeless San Diegans with mental illness, home is where recovery begins.
What we really are trying to do here in San Diego is to break the cycle of homelessness. We know that's a daunting task. We know individuals are homeless for various reasons. This obviously focuses with people with serious mental illness, but I think the principles apply to everybody, not just individuals that have a specific disability. But the idea is to help that individual with their recovery, get them back on track, get them back and recapture their goals and their dreams they had growing up. Supportive housing has been an important part of that.
In the past 4 years alone, we've seen a 19% increase in homelessness in San Diego County. For those who are struggling with mental illness, those afflictions lead to so many other issues that impede their ability to live, quote unquote, a normal life. They're not able to get a job, hold down a place of secure living. It contributes in so many ways. And when you have all of these factors that are impacting their day-to-day life, it's no wonder that so many people with mental illness are on the street.
The folks that we target are the most serious mentally ill. They have schizophrenia, they have symptoms that range from disorganization, confused thinking, they hear voices, they have these kind of challenges that are lots of distractions that makes it difficult for them to navigate the streets. There's no structure there, there's no organization, there's nothing to help them go through the day, and they get lost out there. We look for individuals in the community who are homeless. One of the ways we do that is we spend time on the streets, and we know where clients are living, we know where they'll cluster, and we present ourselves as professionals who are able to help people. And one of the things we're able to offer someone is immediate housing that day, same day, a place to live.
If you're homeless and you have mental illness and you're in shelters and on the streets, there's no real way for you to leave that life behind. What you need is somewhere to live that's safe and that's affordable, and you need services.
It was really hard to be in high school and also be homeless at the same time. I just felt really helpless. I didn't have anywhere to turn or any friends to go to, any family to go to. And it just made me really depressed. And not being able to sleep at night and always having to worry like who's gonna come at me or who's gonna come and bother me, and then have to wake up in the morning and then actually go to school at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then think about all the homework I have to do, then get out of school, go to work, and then figure out where I'm gonna sleep tonight. You know, so it was all really, really stressful. I was admitted into the hospital, stayed there for a couple of days, I believe, and was prescribed some medication for that. And then I got out of the hospital, started trying to live life, and it was pretty hard for the first couple of years actually after that. So, and then I'm still working on it.
People are often afraid of people with mental illness. They believe people with mental illness are going to be violent, and when in fact it's just the opposite. They're more likely to be victims than to act out violently. So there's really no need to be concerned about people with mental illness and to have that stigma. And it's education and understanding that helps people overcome that. Mental illness can be treated successfully.
In supportive housing, we often find that communities are concerned before a project comes in. Once the supportive housing project has been up and running for a year, they come back and say, wow, I didn't understand that supportive housing not only solves the issue of homelessness in my community, but really creates a safe place for these tenants. And I see these tenants in my neighborhood, and they're just like other neighbors. And so what we find is that given the chance to get to know people that live in supportive housing, communities really embrace projects. There's over 1,000 people who are now no longer homeless and off the streets because of our work in San Diego.
Teaching is the most rewarding career you can ever have. I taught for 20 years. I taught everything from 3rd grade all the way up to entry level at the high school and college level. I learned the hard way that the mortgage was an adjustable rate mortgage, and it was $3,000 a month, and there was just no way that I could afford to pay $3,000 a month. So I lost my condo to foreclosure, and that's when my adventure began. I never thought that I'd be sleeping in my car or finding places to eat. And it was kind of ironic because for 3 years I had been helping people distribute food to the homeless, and here I was looking for places to go and get some food. Besides having physical disabilities, I have a mental disability. I suffer from depression. My medical bills are astronomical.
I ran into her in the laundry room and we talked for an hour. There was just an instant connection, and it's lasted right on through.
And friends make a difference. Being alone is not a good place to be when you're suffering with depression. So just to know that somebody's nearby and you can talk with somebody who understands is just a great help.
I have no problem with bringing people in that need that help and who would, you know, be able to grow from just having a roof over their head. I think supportive housing is right on in terms of trying to tackle the problems. Because if you don't have a house, you know, you're pretty much adrift in this society.
Well, what supportive housing has done for me is they didn't just like put me into some place to live and just say, okay, now take what you got, beggars can't be choosy, you know, things like that. They actually took me around and saw what fits me. They gave me a therapist. They gave me somebody I can talk to about if I need to find another job, or if I want to go to college and what kind of classes I should take for my major, and they also gave me a case manager. If you really value your life and you really want to see how the future turns out, then you need to learn how to like go through life, because depression is never going to go away.
Supportive housing is the wraparound, full continuum of service necessary to support a person to be able to lead them towards their independence. If you just have a house or a home, but you're not dealing with the other issues that have led to your being homeless, you're not going to succeed.
We find that people in supportive housing stay in their units. The recovery rate is high. We see 80% of people remain housed for a year or longer.
I didn't want to tell my family because I said I'm going to do it by myself. But I was very depressed, and she told me, Hortensia, you are not okay. Something is wrong with you. Go to a doctor. It's horrible. We know how we suffer a lot there on the sidewalk. That was very hard for me, and I forgot everything that I was attorney. I forgot that I have family. But what I was needing is medication, good medication. But you know, on the street, it's very horrible, it's terrible.
Due to her depressions, she was so depressed that we didn't know where she was. You know, there was no contact, in other words. You know. She would call once in a while, but she would say like, "Are you guys okay?" "Yeah, okay." But she would never say like, "I'm here exactly at this point," or downtown on the street, the corner of so-and-so. If my aunt hadn't gotten help, she would probably be, dead.
These are individuals whose lives were interrupted with mental illness. They had dreams, and now they want to get back to those dreams. It really gives them that stable foundation from which to then organize the rest of their lives, and they stay with it.
Supportive housing really is the bringing to bear all of those resources and support to help the resident manage their day-to-day living situation, making those decisions around preparing meals, managing their money, finding out, understanding the transportation system, getting to their appointments, helping to link the individual to those services.
It's very costly to our community for people to be homeless. The cost for ER visits, for police encounters, for a myriad of other public services runs into the thousands per person who's living on the street. So it's not a cost-free thing for people to be sleeping on the street. We all win when people get housed. Supportive housing makes that happen.
Really, a home being to me means safe, to be safe especially, safe. You feel normal. On the street, you don't have TV to watch news. On the street, everybody's passing by, cars passing by, people walking and seeing you and down. Sleeping on the street, that's not normal to sleep on the street.
Supportive housing helps people move off the streets. It removes the homeless from our streets. And it's the right thing to do. It is the gold standard for providing services for people with a serious mental illness who are homeless.
These are our neighbors, these are our friends, these are our family members who have had experiences that put them on the streets, and that supportive housing really helps them leave that life behind and create a new life of recovery.
In the end, we all win when we solve homelessness. The supportive housing solves homelessness. It gets people off the street, and it's cost effective.
By having more individuals in our community become productive, to contribute to the economy, of course, and contribute to the positive day-to-day life in a community is always a positive.
Well, I would like to be a teacher. I have a lot of great teachers, and it's more like a giving back. They actually looked out for me, and that's what I want to give back to another student. Kind of a way I was raised to always never forget where you came from and never forget who helped you get to that point. I just want to give back to another student so that we can have this cycle continue.
Right now I'm having the library. I'm doing volunteering. My goals are different. It's to get one is to get cured, and the other one is to take a training. I would like to take a training and go back to work.
As a homeless person, she was down, she's up again, and I see her that she has potential. And there could be a lot of people out there that are in her same situation, but with psychiatric help, medication, they can get out of that situation like she did. And they can do it. If she did it, anybody else can do it too. It's not impossible.
They definitely didn't just find me a place to live, they definitely found me a home.
For homeless San Diegans with mental illness, home is where recovery begins. For more information, visit housingmatterssd.org.